Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much for the invite in NFT. The labs team being here, what an absolute honour it is, and it's great to be able to actually share everything that I've been building over the past couple of years. So earlier this year I formed a company that's named Xspense. It's founded in the UK. I know that that could be a challenge in the future, but I'm ready to fight for it because I love where I'm from. I get to meet people from all over the world and it's really fascinating. So considering I've not really got around to speak to absolutely everyone yet, what we're going to do is just a quick introduction of who I am. So my name's Xspense. I come from Stockport and I'm a family driven man. I love my family to bits. I need to apologise while it's on video to my wife because today is our wedding anniversary. Oh! So thank you very much. So thankfully she let me come out to this event to come and meet all you guys, so I'm very fortunate for that. She did a lot of debugging for me last night because all my servers went down. Obviously the live situation, absolute nightmare. But just a couple of slides there. So I've got my kids, I get them involved in almost everything I do. I do a lot of hardware, I do a lot of software, but I also do mechanics, engineering. If there's any kind of challenge that I don't know about, I will dig in, find the root of the problem and get it fixed. It's just how I like to roll. I have no formal qualifications, by the way. There is no bit of paperwork to say that I can do anything other than a configuring and installation of Windows Vista from Microsoft that I've got at home. Hey, absolutely. Yeah, I'm qualified. I have some sort of qualification there. So just on the front row, I have popped a couple of devices on the desk. I'll go into them a little bit later, but if you just press the button on the bottom, you'll be able to test the vibrate function. There's going to be a little bit of noise going on. If you could just pass them back with you so everyone can have a quick look at them, that'd be awesome. I was trying to get all these connected, but I keep hitting rate limits. I need to get my own infrastructure sorted, and that's why I've designed and developed these products. Instead of trying to get it all out the ecosystem through all the other stuff, I decided let's create some products, get some revenue in, and then I can get the infrastructure behind to carry on developing. So a little bit about Xspense. So I created Xspense because I have a few too many different blockchain products and services that I'm starting to get together. So instead of going, this is one, this is the other, I've wrapped it all up in one umbrella company, which is called Xspense. So I'm working on a couple of different things at the moment, one of them being accessibility and the other one being visibility. Now there's a couple of things that obviously is going to draw a few things, so let's get this out there. I do have an issued asset on the XRPL ledger. It is my own token and it is a utility token to kind of gate access to the platform. I created it mainly as a spam protection, but also it demonstrates very nicely a burn mechanic. So the way I've built this accessibility kind of onboarding platform is to demonstrate the core functions so anyone can kind of get involved, understand the basics, and then move forward. So it is called XRMine. Skip the page there. No, further up to. So, just a little bit about Xspense and what we're covering. So we've got XRMine, which is our onboarding platform. Currently we've got quite a lot of users on there. It's processing transactions on a daily basis. I'll go a bit more into that in a moment. We've got the little ledger devices that I've just passed out. There's going to be, at the moment we're on Gen 1. This is all the monitoring range. So you'll be able to monitor your transactions, the server activity, on-chain activity, and custom make your own notifications for these devices. Also on there, I've tagged in my wife. She's a digital artist, so I've encouraged her recently to start publishing all of her work as NFTs. That way it's permanently recorded and she can always chase it all back instead of it just sitting away in a dusty folder. Then I've put my little girl's project on there over the Easter break. She decided that she wanted to start a non-profit to start helping welfare of animals. And I just need to point out Witsy, she absolutely loves the videos of all the animals that you've got going there. She loved the foxes that you caught recently. How are they doing, by the way?
Doing well. Every morning fresh images.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. I love it. And then the last thing there, I am collaborating with Meister at the back there. During our Hooks hackathon in January, I didn't complete my own submission. However, what I did was I reached out to everyone who was in participating, got on some really good terms with everyone, and I noticed that Meister was creating Xmerch, which is an e-commerce platform, and I thought if we joined forces, I could list my products, he gets to test his platform, and we can both kind of work together a little bit. At the moment, collaboration is key, and it's what I'm trying to do, trying to remain impartial and just get out there and help and just support everyone. So XRMine is my little baby, if you will. It is out in a beta at the moment. It's on mainnet XRPL. There are some obviously issues there in terms of I'm distributing other teams' assets and things like that in just a way of trying to onboard. But I have come to kind of realise with the how I can remove a lot of my involvement in that process. So I am trying to work on decentralising this in such a way that anyone could list anything. The community would govern where things appear and whether things should appear on the site. And there's a few hooks that I've got lined up, and if I can finally get them together, it'll be absolutely awesome. So the way that I could actually do this with hooks is actually something quite special. So we could have an issuer or a significant holder who's got a large amount of tokens who wants to share them with the community. What that person could do is he could send over a request to a configuration hook that would set an issued asset on the drop accounts and the treasury account, and then they'll be able to then start distributing their assets in a different way. It's not fully hashed out yet, but one of the things is that I've realised early on is that we don't have very many different types of distribution. We've got airdrops, we've got some form of staking, and thankfully now we've got the balance adjustment. But there's still quite a limit there on what we can actually do. And my aim is to try and build a few different ways, fun different ways that we can do this kind of distribution mechanic. I could load it up. I've got a lot to talk about, so I'll move on from this one. And the one that almost everyone's seen today is what I'm doing. These are the products that I'm creating. It's called the Little Ledger project because the aim is to go from my very small Raspberry Pi that's doing everything at home to having a nice big server rack sat behind me that I can play around with at my own leisure. So the idea of this is to try and encourage other people to experiment with Internet of Things devices connected with blockchain technology. And what I'm doing is producing a range of developer kits alongside the pre-made kits that I've been passing around. The aim is to try and get a developer kit as low cost as possible, to distribute it as far and wide as possible, so that everyone has the opportunity to try and learn a little bit more, develop a little bit more, and see where it goes, because there's some fascinating things that people could develop with this technology.
Nice.
So just a quick slide here about the development kit. I do have one built up here today. Unfortunately, like I say, I keep hitting rate limits, so it's not connected and it's not doing anything at the moment. But effectively, it's just an example of the kit. I do have a few here with me today that I will have a little play around with in a moment.
Sorry, are you referring to cluster rate limits?
Yes.
Oh, fix that.
So let's make sure that you can program an API key in every single one of them, so the devices are bypassing the rate limits.
I love that, Witsy. I absolutely love that. I should have spoken to you a little bit earlier, so it is my own fault.
6 minutes earlier.
Yeah, 6 minutes earlier, possibly. However, I have been up till like 2 o'clock in the morning, so I do apologise that I haven't been out partying with you guys at all. I've just been smashing it, absolutely smashing everything in the background. I should make more of the opportunity to meet and greet everyone, but I am so focused and dedicated on everything that I do. So the developer kit is to introduce people, the microledger is the pre-built kit for those who don't want to be too involved with the technical side of assembly and all of that good stuff. The idea is with the microledger is that a user will be able to download a couple of different programs, and then they'll be able to tailor make the alerts to whatever they would like to do. There is an open source SDK that's going to be released, so it encourages the development. People can copy and paste, cut and change the code, and work in whatever alerts and responses that they like. So a very quick page about my wife and her work. So she does digital work all the time. She's an extremely talented artist, and over the last 2 years she's really took on board this digital art. She loves the physical stuff. She'll sit there drawing all the time, but then sits away in a dusty wallet, and no one ever gets to appreciate the work that she actually produces. So my idea was, if we can get it all listed as NFTs, it's not a case that we're trying to sell these, it's a case of her work is now permanently recorded on the blockchain, and that's a fascinating thing that it's going to outlive her, which is what I'm really excited about. Going on to class, a couple of pictures of my little girl here. I would like to thank a couple of members in the community because they have donated to her fundraising effort. But like I say, over the Easter period, she decided she wanted to set up a welfare kind of thing for animals, where she's going to aim to receive donations up to the amount of £100 and then go and spread them around animal charities while she goes to learn other things. And now the exciting bit. For the last couple of months, I've been working on hooks, and I've got to say I am hooked. It's been painful sometimes, I'm not going to lie, but when it all comes together in the end and everything starts working, then it's so much fun. I'd encourage anyone to start looking at Satish's videos. Hi Satish, those videos were amazing, very helpful back in January. I hope we get some more soon. But what I have done last night is I've booted up this hook. I've loaded it with loads of in the FTF 2025 NFTs. So what we've got here is we've got a remit hook, and it's on mainnet Zahao. So if you used to scan this QR code now and submit a transaction of 10 ZAR, I'm not trying to milk everyone here, I'd send it back to you if you want, but it also demonstrates what's going to happen here. So I can see a few people with the phones out. I assume that a lot of people have got Zaman. I assume a lot of people are on Zahao. So if you'd like to give that a scan, I'll load up a win and we'll see what's going on there.
I'm getting hook rejected.
You're getting hook rejected for 10 ZAR. Oh no.
Dang it.
That's
There we go.
obvious.
Now that's a conference.
Hey! Nothing has gone well for me so far, so I do apologise, guys.
No,
Don't need
please.
to apologize.
Please.
Please don't apologise.
This is demo goals.
This is now it's a proper demo.
That's what I said. Now it's a
Now it's a demo.
Now it begins the conference.
So we go to Zahao. We are connected
So I
there.
No, rejected.
It's been rejected. I do apologise. Let's have a look. Well, it won't appear there, but what I will do is I'll just scroll down and I can explain the hooks that I've got on this
But
account.
in that rejection, while he's doing that, there is a lesson about, how a transaction actually got rejected. So you may want to reject transactions using hooks. So the hook rejected the transaction. So
Yeah. So obviously with hooks there is always a fail safe there. So if it doesn't meet the parameters of the hook will just reject it. I have taken the URI remit hook from Cbot. He originally developed the URI remit. I have tailored it in a few different ways so it can forward payments after the remit's been done. And I will zoom in a little bit here.
It's only for people whose account address doesn't start with an R.
No, I'm sensing some partisanship, partisan things out here. It's from the UK.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. Did you get it?
That's what's been going on.
Did you get it, Gadget?
Hey?
Have you just got one?
Yeah. Well, I sent something and it accepted it.
Well, if you was to go to Zahao on Zaman, you've got the tokens you can flip to NFT. So I will just talk through what we've got here. So on this account here, we do have two hooks. One of them is a URI remit, and the second hook is a payment split. So what happens is a payment comes into the account. Hopefully it's the right payment. Hopefully it's got the right password for it. I did remove that, but it looks like someone's had some issues with it. What happens is the hook account, it receives a payment and it issues a NFT. This NFT will eventually be my own products. It'll have the specs of the products, it'll have the MAC address, so then I can offer things like warranty, servicing, and all of that good stuff. The presentation is labelled outside the box because I do try and think of a lot of things quite differently. And the NFTs, I've always seen them as being a very good receipt that could effectively be attached to any of your payments. You've got that receipt there, you don't have to scroll through your emails, you don't have to cipher through all the random codes that you've got for order numbers to pick out the right one. I think it's a very powerful use case that we could try and implement. And that's what I'm trying to do with Xmerch and mine's at the back there. The second hook that I've got on the account is a payment split hook. So this splits a payment 3 different ways and it's configured by percentage. So you can custom make this hook and then you could forward it to 3 different people. That could be, you want to send your wife 20% to keep her happy. You want to keep a good chunk to yourself, but then you also want to donate. And I've got this customized at the moment so that I'm sending a little bit over to Xmerch. I'm sending the majority back to myself, but because I use Wynn's dashboard all the time, I've actually been forwarding small amount of drops to Wynn's donation page. I was using his tool all last night just to get the information that I needed, make sure everything was working right. Seems to be working for some, not for others, so I do apologise. And that is pretty much it, guys. There is one other thing that I would like to do, and I would like some kind of volunteers, people who are non-technical, people who have not experienced with electronics, and I have 5 developer kits that I'd like to give out today. So if anyone is interested, I know that too many hands are going to go up, which is always the case. So
I think 2 hands, two hands which won't go up at these 2.
it would.
He said non-technical.
Yeah, he said
No,
not.
and also we've got, I think we may have a lot of.
Yeah. Well, everyone's talents would go up otherwise.
Yeah.
So is anyone willing to demo?
Okay, who's?
A quick show of hands. Do I need the draw bag? We got 2 of them. That'll be fine. So like. Hey Queen.
Thank you
I will
kindly.
talk to you about it later. Tom?
Thank you
Thank you very much.
Your kids can do it, Andy, so can I.
Oh, hopefully.
USB devices, everything.
Absolutely.
So, any questions, guys? Apologies, I've thrown it all out there all at once. There's a lot there. Have we got any questions?
Yeah, I have one question.
Yes?
This is not even an assumption. You must have experience with C from the hardware environment. Did it make it easier for you to learn hooks? Or so did knowing the syntax help and the concept of C and memory and the hacks and everything, or did you still feel like having to really study it for what it is, how it works?
There was still a lot of studying involved, but I like the pain, in all honesty. If something's difficult, I enjoy that more than anything. I wanted to persevere with C because that's what Ripple D and How D is built upon, and it gets me close to that point where I can start experimenting with the core rather than just playing around with loads of other different things. So that's why I went through the painful process, messing around with C, C++ as well. I can't say it helped any wits. The best thing that did help was all the videos that Satish provided, and then I could copy and paste and cut and modify and get to grips with it that way. How I like to do it is I get hold of something, I'll pull it apart, put it back together again, I've been very successful, but if you bring me an Apple device, I'm not helping you. I just can't do that. So, anyone else?
So I talked to your wife, and she said that if you're not going out tonight, we are allowed to cable tie you and force you to come with us.
I welcome that experience, Tom. Let's do it.
What we mean is we'll be tying you to Tom.
Oh, tying me to Tom. I'm sure Tom could carry me around for the night. That'll be absolutely fine. But just before I go, I just want to say thanks again for the invite. Obviously, I've just been building on my own for quite some time. It's great to be in a room with absolutely everyone and to share all the madness that I've been doing. The inclusion project that you guys are working on, that's really core to everything that I like to do. With XR Mine, I foresaw that we could potentially be coming up to a wave of digital and financial inclusion that's going to be a problem and a headache for absolutely everyone. We're trying to create rails to hide everything, but then how are people going to actually understand the technology that they're using in the background? And the XR Mine app is to try and bring that to the forefront, show the basic transactions, and eventually I'll be able to share it with my friends, family, and know that if they use that platform, they'll be safe. Because my concern has been that if you introduce someone and you leave them to it for the next few hours, anything could happen. They find the next exciting meme coin, they come back to you the next day that they've lost everything, crypto's absolutely rubbish, why did you suggest that to me? So I'm trying to build a safe onboarding platform that incentivizes a safe onboarding experience. Thank you very much, guys.
That is Xmine, is it then?
That is XR Mine, yeah. I went with XR Mine because it's a play on the term mining. I know there's no mining on the XRP ledger, but that's another way that I can educate people and I can introduce that this is not mining as in your transaction mining, but really you're mining the data of projects. You're providing feedback, and then in terms of providing the feedback, you get the rewards. It's trying to combat this wave of passive income that we've got. I'd like to see a bit more active income. Yeah, if people are participating in an ecosystem, then in theory they should be rewarded. Very much like the ballot adjustment and a lot of the other kind of things. Like if you go to a supermarket, they'll issue a token, you know, for you spending X amount. And effectively that's a very primitive form of cryptocurrencies in my eyes and digital assets. So it's how I usually introduce it to people, that you've got these club card points, these cards, points that you're collecting, and it's very much just a digital version of that. Yeah. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.